Hey everybody, welcome back out to Superstition Mountain. Milo here along with Henry, and today we're talking a little bit about head movement in the golf swing. Should you keep your head down and your eyes on the ball, or should you let them turn?
So this is a response to a recent YouTube question about what the head is doing in the golf swing. Now, you know, a lot of us have been told to keep our head down, even through impact. But there's also been sort of a lot of people that have been saying for the past, I don't know, a couple decades now that you should open up your head and let your eyes follow the ball or even turn ahead of the ball. And you're seeing this in some of the top players as well.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing I hear is you should keep your head still. And if you actually put a circle around a lot of the best players in the world, their heads don't stay still. They move around a bit.
Yep. Up, down, back, left.
Yep. The one thing you don't see is a whole lot of movement from about here on. If anything, their heads might back up a little bit.
Right.
You don't see their heads floating forward.
And I would say that for us is probably the one big no-no with the head would be, you know, if you're hitting a ball here, is to have your head get excessively out in front of the ball.
Yep.
Because you look at any athletic motion, throwing a ball, playing tennis, baseball, their heads are always behind that object. They're not getting out ahead of it.
Exactly. Cool. So let's talk about some of the factors that dictate whether or not we should actually let our eyes turn or our heads turn. Well, there's a thing called eye dominance. And are we all left or right eye dominant?
Nope, one or the other.
One or the other.
Hopefully.
Yep. But not everybody's the same. So throughout history, you can look through and you can see guys like Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods. They kept their head down quite a long time, right?
Right.
Through the golf ball. We can also look through and see some of the best players. They come to mind like Henrik Stenson, David Duval, Annika Sorenstam, whose eyes actually turned long before they hit it. So
even DJ we see, especially with his wedges.
And DJ with short clubs is really letting his head go.
Yeah.
So I've actually done some studies on this, and I know that Tiger Woods, left eye dominant, Jack Nicklaus, left eye dominant, Annika Sorenstam, right eye dominant, David Duval, right eye dominant, DJ, right eye dominant. So eye dominance can play a role. If you're a left eye dominant player, it might not make sense for you to let your head turn. That would be really uncomfortable and disconcerting to take your dominant eye off the golf ball, right?
Yeah.
Where if you're a right eye dominant player, as I turn, I can still see that ball out of my right eye. I can't see all I can see is my nose with my left eye, but I can still see my hand right here, even though my head's looking over here. So that could make a definite difference in what would be right for you.
Yep. Oh, it's really interesting. I know, and you actually are probably the first person that ever told me that about their eye dominance. And you know, we hear about it in like putting and lining things up, but not really. You don't really hear much about it in the golf swing and how it can play a factor in how someone's head is moving in the golf swing. So, but let's talk a little bit about during the swing. The head may be moving to their trail side. The head might move up. Or for you even, it actually almost goes a little left in the back.
So in my golf swing, my first move is a little move off, and then as I turn, I create spine extension, which actually moves my head back toward my front foot.
Yep.
In my backswing. And then as I start down, it stays there and then backs back up.
Yep.
So a lot of people say, wow, your head stays really still. But when I film it, my head actually wanders around a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and as do most others. If you look at Tiger Woods from the 2000 era, his head would wander kind of back off the ball this way quite a lot.
Yeah. And then you had Jack Nicklaus, who kind of had his chin start pointing to the right a little
And Jack would cock his eyes like this, so they would turn right on the plane, so he's looking at the ball out of his left eye.
Wonder why that was. But I guess that also speaks to the fact that your head is also sort of on a plane, or that tilt too.
Yeah, so you can see as I'm bent over here, the brim of my hat is pointed on a plane. And so my head can turn on this plane and be okay. What we really don't want to see happening is my eyes getting tilted this way or this way excessively, because if that happens, it sends signals to my brain on which direction to swing. So if my eyes are cocked like this, it's going to be really easy to start swinging way from the inside. And if my head gets cocked this way, it's going to be really easy to start swinging like that. So it's pretty important that our eyes work on the plane that they're supposed to. So if my head's going to turn, I want it to turn like this and stay on the plane.
Right. Versus if you did that again, and if your chin were to start face or that way, or if your chin was starting to face me, or even come up out of it like that, you know, a lot of things can go awry from there.
So I'm okay if the head turns like this. I'm okay if the head works up and down. I really don't want to see the head going a long ways forward.
Yeah, that would probably be the biggest no-no in my mind.
And I really don't want to see the head getting cocked one way or the other. So those are the two real, forward or twisting the head off plane would be the two no-nos. But all the rest of the head movement is kind of natural. It should be in the backswing. I prefer to see the head work slightly to the right if it's going to move any direction. I really don't want to see the head moving to the left. Now maybe at the very top of your backswing, like mine does, it moves a little right and then it stabilizes and moves back a little to the left. I'm cool with that because that's just my upper spine extending.
So I guess for our viewers at home, one thing to think about is if they are trying to keep their head down or in the shot, keep their eyes in the shot, stay in the shot, or if they're trying to rotate their head open, is to consider what your eye dominance is before they make that change or try to implement that.
How do you figure out which eye is your dominant eye?
Oh, that's another video we're going to have to do now.
Hope you've all liked this video. If you have, like and subscribe. And check out milolinesgolf.com. In the description, you can find a link to it. I'd love you to click on it, come over and visit us, where we can help you one-on-one get better at your game.